Pneuma is the title of Nick Herbert's third solo exhibition with the gallery. The first two shows were landscape inspired. This is quite a departure from the first two because it's clearly abstract. They fit very nicely into the ethos of the gallery, which over the years has tried to show interesting work by contemporary, living British and international artists.
The word pneuma in ancient Greek had a variety of meanings, some more literal, such as breath or air in motion, in the sense of something essential to life, and also some more philosophical, such as ghost or the immortal soul. The word usefully seems to encompass many possible spiritual interpretations and ideas. It's directional without being too didactic or constraining.
The works in Pneuma are light, bright, ethereal. Moments they appear almost not to be there at all, but they are not images of nothing. As faint sometimes as it is, the colour in these paintings is everything. It's what makes each one work. Each is a careful yet uncertain experiment as Herbert tests the boundaries of what might be possible. He knows exactly what he's looking for.
I think over time these paintings have become ever more pared back, delicate and ethereal. I want to challenge the eye to look with real purpose. I think in particular their coloration intensifies the longer these paintings are viewed. Colours that perhaps were not evident on initial inspection slowly become apparent, and eventually some evidence of visual vibration can materialise as after images subtly overlay the whole.
Studying them in conversation with the artist, a remark attributed to the French composer Claude Debussy came to my mind. Music is the silence between the notes. It's an enigmatic statement, but equally these are enigmatic, rather haunting paintings. They are the artistic equivalent, perhaps, of the sound to be heard between the notes in a piece of music.
The new work is quite difficult to describe. It's small in scale, very intimate in its own way, beautifully made, soft, contemplative in its nature, and requires a certain amount of attention from the viewer.
Although Herbert admits that in the process of creating the series he liked the way they gradually became what he says ever more not there, we are looking at something. What we are seeing in 3 hazy columns of 5 are small oblong glimpses of colour. Each painting in Pneuma shimmers as if from behind a screen.
To me, these paintings feel otherworldly, even quasi-religious, dealing with ideas of both the temporal and the eternal, of loss, and yet of the hope of something more profound beyond the everyday. It's the way that specific colours and their interactions slowly emerge more distinctly as the painting is viewed that animates the eye across the surface and draws the viewer into the painting's internal rhythms, its perpetual state of visual metamorphosis.
They evoke a colour sequence of human DNA, or perhaps one of the museum drawers full of artefacts that Herbert references in his own statement on his work. Objects that, on first glance, appear almost identical, yet which, on closer inspection, reveal themselves to be each quite different, distinct, and unique.
The way the constituent elements are spatially set out in these paintings is deliberately grid-like. It's formal and repetitive. This particular property of ordered repetition is a counterpoint to the spiritual. It alludes to systems and ontology, organisation and classification, to the world of science, the polar opposite of faith, the sacred or the numinous. Visual repetition and regularity might also remind us of some fundamental things that have uninterrupted continuity or periodicity, such as breathing, a pulse, cellular structures, the diurnal cycle, neural networks even, fast radio bursts from a distant galaxy, and so on. Viewers can, of course, construct their own list and therefore their own interpretative context.
Pneuma has been a revelation to the artist. It's the product of what has been a long artistic journey, one that began over 20 years ago. These seemingly simple, yet in fact deeply complex paintings are an arrival, the expression of an artist who has finally found himself. In my end is my beginning, as T.S. Eliot put it.
For me, this corpus is still evolving, albeit very slowly. Within the boundaries of Pneuma's quite minimal visual language, at least as it is currently defined by these paintings, there are continuing possibilities for deeper examination of the sensory interplay between variations of colour, tonality, types of mark and their distribution. For me, Pneuma has a degree of resolution that, while not an endpoint, is certainly a sufficiently contained and meaningful poetic and emotive visual language to be fertile ground for future exploration, while still remaining firmly within its particular restraints and disciplines.